You should be kissing my feet for even marrying you, babe. She sneered, her voice slicing through the candlelit restaurant like a knife, her friends' cackles echoing her cruelty. At 6:34 a.m., my phone buzzed to life, its screen flashing with 15 missed calls, 14 from her, one from a buddy we both know, who probably caught wind of her sneaking around. No voicemails, no texts, just a frantic parade of calls that screamed desperation. She used to call that gut feeling her feminine instincts, but now it's just static in my head. I sat still, staring at the glowing screen, its light spilling across the empty half of the bed, the side she always griped about being too chilly. I kept it that way after she bailed 5 nights ago, though her absence crept in way before she packed her bags. Maybe it started the moment her eyes stopped seeing me as someone who mattered. Or maybe it was that night she turned our dinner into her personal stand-up routine. That evening, we were at a fancy restaurant, all candles and soft jazz, the kind of spot where folks toast to love or promotions. I thought we were there to reconnect, to celebrate us. She thought it was open mic night for her ego. You should be kissing my feet for even marrying you, babe. She sneered, her voice dripping with sarcasm, tossing her hair like she was auditioning for a reality show. Her friends cackled, their laughter bouncing off the walls louder than the music. I forced a smile, stayed quiet, and picked up the tab. Her hips swayed as she strutted out, like she owned the world and I was just her doormat. That wasn't what gutted me. It was how effortless it felt for her, like she'd rehearsed tearing me down in front of her wine-sipping posse. They clinked their overpriced glasses like it was just another Thursday, while she grinned, forgetting the nights she'd curled up next to me, whispering I was the only guy who ever got her. Now, I was invisible, a ghost in her spotlight. She didn't just call me ugly that night, not just my face, but my worth, my everything. He's lucky I even stick around, she'd quip, her voice sharp enough to slice through my pride. Infidelity stings because it shatters trust. But for me, it was her mockery that burned deeper. The way she flaunted her betrayal like a trophy, thinking I was too dumb to notice. She spilled my secrets to her friends, private stuff about my doubts, my past, turning my vulnerabilities into her punchlines. I didn't react. I just listened, absorbing every word. Later, I dug out the backup drive I'd stashed in my closet, a leftover from my old IT gig she conveniently forgot about. She never noticed the quiet sync I'd set up on her phone either. She missed a lot of things, like how I'd started piecing together her lies. The deleted messages were my first clue, a messy trail of half-wiped chats with some guys she labeled M. Cryptic names, vague locations, voice notes that cut off like she was scared of getting caught. She thought deleting them would erase her guilt. Spoiler, it didn't. I listened to every clip, watched every move. 2 weeks before that dinner, I'd clocked her switching perfumes, calling it new energy. I called it new lies. She started taking forever in the shower, clutching her phone like it was her lifeline. When I looked into her eyes, I didn't see guilt, just a hollow void where empathy used to live. Guilt needs a heart, and she traded hers in for something colder. Bank records told another story. Hotel charges she never mentioned. Always the same place, same room. I'd booked that room once, back when we celebrated our anniversary. Turns out it was never our room. 3 nights before her big comedy act at dinner, I installed tracking software. Silent, undetectable. It logged every tap, every call, every step she took. She texted him while sitting right next to me, promising she'd ditch the loser soon. She lied, even when she didn't have to, like it was a reflex. I started collecting evidence. Screenshots, photos, audio clips, messages where she trashed me as pathetic, saying I was desperate for her attention. She built her little fantasy world with care, and I let her. Because sometimes you gotta let someone think they're free before the trap snaps shut. The evidence piled up like a crime scene. Texts about how I was emotionally weak, how I'd beg her to stay. Her side guy wasn't just a fling, he was her backup plan, all biceps and zero brains. She fed him lies about me crumbling, painting me as some fragile mess. I created a folder, named it Exit Wounds, and emailed it to myself. I printed the juiciest bits, tucked them into a manila envelope. No theatrics, just cold, hard truth. Then I met her at her favorite cafe, the same place where she once gushed about how I noticed the little things. She sat there, all smug and glowing, like she'd already rewritten our story to make herself the hero. I slid the envelope across the table without a word. She grabbed it, ripped it open, and her face froze. The silence stretched, heavy and thick. Then, her voice, small and shaky. "You snooped through my phone, didn't you?" I sipped my coffee, calm as ever. "Nah, sweetheart. Your phone spilled your secrets all on its own." She flipped through the pages. Photos, call logs, texts, her glow fading to ash. "This ain't fair," she whispered, her voice cracking. I smirked. "Funny, it feels pretty fair now." She called me spineless, her words sharp but wobbly, like she was losing her grip. I watched her unravel, then told her I'd already filed for divorce, moved our money, and talked to a lawyer. All the accounts she used to run through like water. Locked. She reached for my hand, desperate. "You can't just walk away," she whined. "We're married, duh." I nodded. "And you turned it into a cheap sitcom, hun." She tried to cry, but her eyes stayed dry. Guess she'd used up all her fake tears. I leaned in close. "Remember that dinner? Where you called me ugly, told your girls I should worship you for even staying?" She nodded, barely. "Well, I am grateful," I said, pausing for effect. "Grateful 'cause you showed me who you really are and what I don't need anymore." I stood, left the envelope on the table, and walked out, leaving her to sit in the mess she'd made. The waiter swung by, and she fumbled. She had no cash, no cards. I'd canceled them all, just like she left me to foot the bill that night. Poetic, right? She blew up my phone all night, leaving voicemails dripping with apologies and excuses. "I wasn't myself, babe," she claimed, rewriting history like I hadn't heard her laugh at my expense. Betrayal's never an accident. It's a choice dressed up in opportunity. I didn't answer, didn't text back. Silence, I've learned, hits harder than any comeback. It lingers in the cracks where her sorries can't reach. As I write this, the sun's climbing behind the curtains she always yanked shut, and for the first time in ages, I feel warm. She said I should be grateful she married me. I'm just grateful she's finally gone.